What's good, y'all? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good with you? I hope y'all liked that last dance, y'all. Hector, what's up, man? What's going on? We in here. We in here. What's going on? Hey, how'd y'all like the last dance, man? Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. I hope y'all doing well. As y'all know, last dance was definitely tough for tonight, episodes 5 6. I want to welcome y'all to Crunch Time. I started this last week, so shout out to my guests that I had on last week, Eric Woodyard, Jason Jones, and my man Brandon Robinson. So this week here's the lineup for y'all. I got my man Mike Hill from Fox Sports 1, Talaya Wilkins from ESPN, and my man Jimmy Mitchell from the Chicago Bulls. So I want to thank y'all for hopping on this week. So for those who don't know me, Benjamin Bullock obviously worked a whole bunch of places in the sports industry. Currently in Dallas, Texas, and I'm definitely a big Bulls fan. As y'all can see, I got the old school Michael Jordan jersey a poster that I had last week, and then I got the Kobe 81 poster that I had. I had that 81 poster for about a good minute. So yeah, this crunch time thing, man. I just came up with the idea a couple of weeks ago. I just felt like I needed to hop on and kind of voice my opinion on this whole Jordan thing. So we're gonna get started real quick. I got my man Mike Hill ready to hop on here from Fox Sports 1. Mike hopping on. Big Mike, what's
What up,
good?
B? What's good, baby?
What's up, man? You chilling, man? What's going on?
Man, just watched the best 2 hours of the week.
Oh, for real?
Just enjoying it, man. This is something to look forward to every week. Since we don't have sports now, this is kind of
Yeah.
replaced that. So it's just been incredible, man. Still brings back bad memories for me. I'm a Knicks
Yeah,
fan,
big
bro.
Knicks
So
fan. Right, right,
that
right.
shit still hurts, man.
Man,
we was up 2-0.
and y'all blew that thing.
Yeah, man. They pissed Jordan off, and the rest is history, man. But you got to take your hats off to him. Take your hat off to him because he was just that incredible. That's what makes him the greatest of all time, my brother.
Man, you already know that, man. You know he's the greatest of all time. So what's the vibe
Yeah.
out there in LA right now, man? How you doing out there?
Just maintaining, just trying to chill out with the family. I'm in the house with 5 women, man, including my fiance. But life is good. Here's some good days and bad days. Thank God that the good days, are much better than the bad days. So
Right,
I said we clipping about 85% right now, but it's all
right.
good. Some days we get tired of each other, but she's sitting here right with me. She watched the whole documentary with me, man. So it's my ride or die, man. So it's my
Man,
girl. Then my daughter's doing well too. So everybody's good, man. What about you?
man, we good, man. We good, man. Daughter's good. She just turned 1 not too long ago, and
That's what's
we
up.
coming up on 2 years being married now. So just trying to make it work, man. Trying to make it
That's
work.
what's up, man. Make it work. That's what I always say. You got to make it work. That's what I understand about relationships. Is people saying, you can make it work if you want to make it work. It is work. That's the
Right,
whole thing about it. You got to
right.
put in that work to make it work, man. So what you put in it is what you're gonna get out of it. So
Exactly.
but it's not always gonna be a bed of roses, man. But it's like I said, the good days far outweigh the bad.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up to see MJ's whole career just evolve? Since y'all kind of around the same age a little bit, so I'm pretty sure you saw literally from his Carolina days all the way up to even when he played with the Wizards.
I ain't that damn old. Shit. MJ got about 8-9 years on me now. Hold on now.
Yeah.
I remember seeing MJ. He was already in the league when I was in high school. I remember going to a basketball camp. Now hold on now. No, but I've always, since his days of North Carolina, man, I've always been a basketball fan. So I remember that cat. I remember I was a Georgetown fan, so he's always kind of hurt me. He took a championship away from the Hoyas back in the day when he was a freshman in North Carolina. And of course,
Right.
I talked about what he did with the Bulls and the Knicks. But MJ is one of those cats, man, that just, I hated him because he was on the Bulls and I'm a Knicks fan or whatnot.
Right.
So I couldn't stand him, but I always respected him. I respected what he brought to the table. And, looking at this documentary has just made me just solidify what I've already known, that this guy is the greatest of all time. Like I said, I got mad respect for LeBron, for Kobe, Magic, anybody else that you might consider one of the GOATs, man. But to me, you'll never, ever be able to convince me that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Right.
And not just because of his skills, man, but because of his will. Like you said, even when he's talking about the gambling thing, I don't have a gambling problem. I have a competition problem.
Yeah, competitive problem. Right.
So when it comes to the competitive edge, he was not going to let you beat him.
Right.
And that's what I have to love and appreciate about him. Even if he took championships away from my favorite teams, I have to love to respect that man, and this is just who he is. So I nobody's ever going to change my mind when it comes to that.
Right. So since you being out in LA and everything like that, so what was it like to? I mean, what's the vibe out there in LA in terms of comparing LeBron, Kobe, and Jordan, all that kind of thing? Because you've seen all three of them play. You know what I mean? So what's your opinion on that?
I mean, but here's the thing. Like I said, I don't take nothing away. It's funny because 2 years ago, Laker fans weren't saying LeBron's the greatest player of all time. They couldn't
Right.
stand LeBron. A
Right.
lot of them didn't even want him to come to LA, to be honest with you, because of the
Right.
whole Kobe LeBron rivalry or whatnot. So, but they embrace him, they love him now, and I got a lot of LeBron fans out there, and that's good. I mean, he's great. He's great for the
Right.
league, and definitely LeBron is one of the greatest of all time. But for a lot of people, and that's good. If you feel that way, you feel that way. But
Right.
out here in LA, it's like it's Kobe country. You know what I mean? Kobe will always, no matter what, you saw the type of love and the type of respect that this man got. Unfortunately, when he died,
Right.
people knew it here in LA, but you see it across the world. You see the respect that
Mm-hmm.
Kobe Bryant got. So when it comes to my list of greatest of all times, I've always said it was Michael. Magic was my second greatest player of all time, then
Mm-hmm.
Kobe. But when it comes to competitive edge and competitive spirit, I've never seen anybody even come close to the competitive edge that Michael Jordan exuded until I saw Kobe Bryant on the basketball court. So
Right.
out here in LA, it's still Kobe country. Maybe if LeBron wins a couple of
Yeah.
rings, they're accepting him. Don't get me wrong, but at the same
Right.
time, he's not in the stratosphere as far as being respected the way Kobe is. But around
Right.
the league, of course, LeBron's getting his props, and he should.
Right. Okay, hey y'all, this is Mike Hill from Fox Sports One out in LA. Me and him met at NABJ in San Diego '09, I think, and then we got real cool. Yeah, '09.
Oh,
And then we got
90.
cool
When
when
was
I
that?
worked at ESPN as a PA.
Yeah,
About 2010, 2011. That
I'm
seemed
proud
long.
of you, man.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
Mm-hmm.
man. So you cover the Clippers and all this other stuff. Have you heard any like really good MJ stories? Just kind of talking to players and other people around the city in LA or even working at ESPN.
I mean, not necessarily just being here in LA, but I've been around MJ a couple of times, man. My first time actually seeing Mike, well, my first time seeing him when I was at the basketball camp when I was in high school, saw him there.
So you
First
was a
time
hooper.
interacting, huh?
You was a hooper back then.
Well, that's why I talk about it. I wasn't much of a hooper. That's why I
Right,
talk about that shit for a living, but I wasn't
right,
much of a hooper. So,
right,
I realized, at an early age that this wasn't going to be my future. You know what I
right.
mean?
That's
I
why you
could
got the
play, I
sports
could bang a
broadcast.
little bit, I could do something here and there, maybe play a little bit more football than I
Right.
did basketball. But yeah, I knew I was going to be able to talk about it instead of, actually playing the game. So I still had a way of getting into sports. But my first interaction actually with Michael Jordan was I was telling my fiance when he came to Fresno for another basketball camp. I was actually a reporter then,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a chance to see him behind the scenes and
Mm-hmm.
see him in a different element and see a
Right.
different side of Michael Jordan. And that's what I love about this documentary is that you're getting to see the raw, unfiltered version of
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, the ones I got a chance to see when the
Yeah.
cameras were off. That's why I
Talking
like when
mad
Magic
trash
Johnson,
all day. Talking trash
yeah,
all day.
that's why I like when Magic Johnson actually came in the locker room during the All-Star game in New York, and you actually saw Magic the way I've seen Magic.
Yeah,
You worked
not
at
like
ESPN,
commercial magic
so
out
we
here
saw
back
Magic,
then.
yeah, not commercial Magic. You saw
Yeah,
the real Magic. You saw that.
yeah,
That's what I'm loving about this documentary. You seeing these guys, man, kind of come away from the veil, unveil themselves, and actually show who they truly are, man. And it still doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just
right.
means these guys are so image conscious when they actually played the game. And so I like seeing Jordan in his element, basically saying what's on his mind, showing his feelings, whatever. But the first time I actually interacted with Jordan
Mm-hmm.
was I was at a golf celebrity event in
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte,
Mm.
and they invited me down there. And Nike, I used to always get a hookup with Nike when I was at
Mm.
ESPN,
Right.
and so I had all this Nike gear on, and I was out on the driving range, man. I was getting ready to go hit some balls or whatever. And I had been at ESPN for about 6 years then,
Yeah.
had gained a little popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, man, I see this figure walking towards me, and it's tall dude, and he's dark skinned. I didn't recognize him because he had his glasses on, he
Yeah.
had
And his hat on or
hat
something,
on,
berets. Yeah.
yeah, and a little cigar. And he walked up to me, He said, "Hey, Mike, what's up, man? Thanks for coming out." I'm like,
Whoa. Dang, MJ knew who you was. You didn't even
man,
know.
MJ knew my name.
That's
You know what I'm
crazy.
saying? He knew my
Yeah.
name. I'm like, oh man, I'm telling you, that is the first time I realized that, you know what, damn man, this is my career. I made my career. You know, you can't tell me anything. I'm still not a star. I don't consider myself a celebrity or whatever. But
Right.
Michael Jordan knows my name. Magic Johnson knew who I was. You know, those type of moments, man,
That's
is something
crazy.
that you'll never forget. The first time you interact with Michael Jordan
Mm-hmm.
on a friendly, personal basis, not a professional basis,
Right.
he comes up and he knows your name because of him seeing you on
Well,
television,
Tim,
and
and
that
do
meant
your
the most.
thing too.
Yeah, and then like the next year, well, 2 years later, they invite. No, it was like 3 or 4 years later. He invited me to come and be the MC for their the Hornets tip
Mm-hmm.
off event or whatnot. So I was the MC. He was right there in front of me. Got a chance to interact with him beforehand or whatever. So, you know, MJ is just man, just an incredible guy, man. Got mad respect. I'm glad
Right.
they went into the issues that people had with him when it came to him not being
Gambling.
as using that platform. So I'm just enjoying this documentary, man. It's just been superb, man, from the first episode.
Hey, I got one more question. Well, two more. It's second to last one. What do you think about that whole political thing? Him kind of staying out of that. I know they kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of not because he's saying he wasn't really trying to be Muhammad Ali. He just really strictly focused on basketball. I don't know. A lot of people kind of gave him a lot of backlash because of that.
Well, you know, I think personally, I think he should have been a little bit more. Maybe you don't. I think when you have a platform and you have that type of popularity and that type of influence, I'm a big believer in using your platform to kind
Right.
of push not necessarily an agenda, but things you really truly believe in to help
Right.
certain people, to help people who are, you know, even if Michael Jordan would have just come out sometime and said, "Hey, stay off drugs," or
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan would have said, "Hey, I'm against domestic violence," something that he was
Yeah.
passionate
Or
about
stay in
outside
school
the
or
game
something
of
like that.
basketball,
Mm-hmm.
instead of because you can influence people to buy your sneakers, you can influence people to buy Gatorade, you can
Right.
influence people to go to McDonald's or whatnot, but you
Yeah.
can't influence people to do something that will serve and make this country a little better to live in. I
Right.
think of Michael Jordan, the whole Jesse Helms thing. Even if you didn't endorse the other senator, I can't think of his name, Blake.
Yeah.
If you didn't endorse, you can actually come out against Jesse Helms, who was a racist, and
Exactly.
could have said something about that. So I know you gave a donation, and you didn't have to come out and talk about politics, but to take a
Right.
picture with this man and basically say I'm with him,
Yeah.
that's
That could
all
have
you
did
would have, and
numbers.
it would have gone a long way. But you know what? His explanation was he was so focused on basketball. That's fine. That's his choice. But
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the reasons why, as somebody said in the documentary, you'll remember Muhammad Ali not just for what
Yeah.
he did in
For
the
what
in
he
the
stood
ring. You'll
for.
remember a LeBron James 20 years from now, not just because of what he does on the basketball court. I want to remember my heroes as some people who made a difference,
Right.
not just for what they did, but for who they did it for.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
I couldn't have put it any better, bro. Couldn't have put it any
yeah,
better. So, this is Mike Hill, Fox Sports 1 anchor, my main man for so many years, man. So,
yeah.
Mike's my last question for you, bro. What is your favorite pair of Jordans?
The ones I got, I got the threes.
You got the threes.
I
You
got
got
the
the
threes,
threes?
man. But yeah, we was looking tonight, and Cynthia and I, we about to go find some ones, man. We about to
Oh,
get some
for
custom
real?
made ones made. Yeah, we about
They
to get
just
the
dropped the
ones, man.
OGs last year, and they came out with some white and blue ones earlier this year. That's pretty dope.
I don't want the. I want the red and black ones. I want the first ones, the ones that I want the ones he had the blood in
Yeah,
when
I
he
was going
went
to say,
back to
man,
the
the Steve
garden.
League
I
in
want
98.
those. You know what I mean? So, but the threes are my favorite ones, man. It's just like, I've never been a big Jordan guy. Like I was going out there spending $400 for a pair of sneakers because I ain't playing no damn basketball. So you know,
No,
it's a fashion statement. I get it, and
exactly.
sneakerheads get that. But you know, I like the threes. I like the ones they look good to me, and I can rock them with some jeans. But I'm almost 50 years old, man. I need to be buying some
Boy,
old
you look
ass
like you
Stacey
about
Adams.
35, boy. I ain't going to hold
Yeah.
you. You been
Hey
in the
man,
gym out there in LA, boy.
I'm moisturizing, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm drinking a lot of water, hydrate,
Bro.
hanging out with hanging out with little
Show me.
hanging out with
Oh my
hanging out
God.
with
Hanging out the
pretty
white girl.
ladies and stuff like that.
I understand. Females got to keep it tight,
Oh my
man.
God. Stop.
Hey, Big Mike. Hey, thank you, man, for hopping on with me, man.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate you, big bro.
Of
Appreciate you
course,
hopping
Ben.
on with me, man. I'll holler at you, all right?
All right, take care, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right,
sir.
man.
Yep. Woo! My man, Big Mike came with the heat. He brought his wifey out there. That's funny, man. So, I want to introduce y'all to my next guest, Talaya Wilkins. She's a producer at ESPN. Me and her worked together when I worked up there from 2010 to 2011. She is really dope. She's a female doing her thing in this thing. So, let me find her real quick. Hold on a second. Where's she at? Where's she at? Hey, chill down. What's good, Rock? Hey, AC was cracking.
How you doing?
Chilling, what's cracking?
It is amazing to be a part of this lineup. Let me first and foremost say thank you for having me on. I have to give you this backstory. A lot of people don't even know this, but Mike Hill, who you just had on as a guest, was responsible for getting me into this industry.
Man.
Back in 2005, he answered my email. We had a mutual connect. And it took 18 months to go through, the whole process. But it's just crazy how life comes full circle.
Hey,
so shout out to Mike for being, on this lineup with me.
Right. Hey, I remember when I got up at ESPN, I met him in San Diego in 2010. That's where I met Stacy, who's an ESPN recruiter. Pretty sure you know her and everything. So that's how I got in the PA program. And then I actually met Mike there and saw him on TV, everything, Strange Cars. So when I got up to Bristol, he was the first one I hit up. Hey, I'm here. And then, little me as a PA, he's an anchor and everything. We used to have staff and everything like that. So Mike is a real OG, real cool dude. Always down for whatever, man.
Absolutely. So
how you doing? You done had a long
man.
Life,
I mean, you would have me on following this. I had to relive I'm a bitter Knicks fan. I'm born and bred, raised in New York. And this was, there were some heartbreaking moments. And even Wilbon said it in the doc, the Knicks were supposed to be the Detroit Pistons of the 90s. They were supposed to be those bad boys.
Right.
And so it was very tough for me to, endure this for a couple of hours, but happy to be a part of it.
Hey, T, man. So what'd you think about tonight's episodes?
Oh, man, so many
Besides the
takeaways.
next part.
From the opening sequence, Madison Square Garden, a place that I grew up in, since 1989, I think was my first appearance at the Garden. Not even at a Knicks game. I actually went to go see a Michael Jackson concert at 5 years old back in 89. So, but I grew up in that arena. So just, to have that as an opening sequence, you hear Nas in the background, If I Rule the World. It was just so many takeaways. The 92 Dream Team, the Isaiah snub. The Jordan rules, it was just, but then you get to the Eastern Conference Finals of, the 93 season. And I'm like, why am I reliving this? Why am I reliving it?
Y'all blew it.
Oh my God. Just the way that series was covered. That's when you first heard about Jordan's gambling problems, or quote unquote, or his competitiveness, and it was just like, why do we have to give him that edge, coming off that series? So it was just a lot of takeaways, great to relive, but, also as a Knicks fan, it was a little heartbreaking for me. But that was probably one of my favorite moments as a Knicks fan. John Starks dunking on Jordan, everybody coming off the baseline.
He dunked like kind of around.
It was, if we're going to be honest, it was really
It wasn't like Jordan on viewing, though. It wasn't like that.
Don't. I'm gonna exit left. See? You see how you got to? I'm gonna exit left. But
hey,
all good.
So also in that first part of episode 5, Kobe Bryant. So rest in peace, Kobe, and everything. You actually had an interaction with him. I want to say it was last year. First of all, let's tell people what you do at ESPN, because you're dope. Let's back it up a little bit, and we'll get to that. So tell them what you do at ESPN.
Okay, so I'm a feature producer on the original content team for ESPN Plus. I've had a long-standing history on the studio production side. So I had stints on SportsCenter, OTL, NBA Countdown, First Take, you name it. I've definitely touched everything with Mike and Jamel, His and Hers, SE6, Get Up with Greeny. And then I made the transition. So about a year ago, I did a sit-down interview with Greeny and Kobe at the NBA store when he was promoting his children's book. And that was actually the first time I met him, and kind of open up the floodgates into what I was going to do next in my career. And I wanted to tap into original content. And I knew that we were, a very new team. And one of the projects that was on the table up for grabs was Kobe's Detail docuseries, which is the sports analyst, deep dive film study. You have to be, I will admit, you got to be you got to nerd out. And if you want that perspective from the best.
Yesterday.
Yes. Thank you for the support. I appreciate that. But that was honestly part of the decision why I decided to pivot from studio production to original content. So, obviously tragic what happened to him this year. But I would definitely, put that as a highlight moment in my career, making that decision to pivot from studio production to original content.
Okay, now, so just tell me a little bit about what goes into detail. Well, tell me about today, like yesterday,
yes.
Because we were talking, just kind of making sure we was on the same page. But you had a
Yeah.
deadline to meet today, and so you
Oh
was
yeah.
working overtime
Okay.
today
Right.
and yesterday.
Right. So we are actually the detailed docuseries is producing content around the 1998 Chicago Bulls team in
Right.
conjunction with The Last Dance. So
Exactly.
after every airing on Sunday night, you can go over to ESPN Plus and just get more content. So
Right.
tonight's episode was featured around Mark Jackson breaking down Game 7 of the Eastern Conference
Mm.
Finals from that series. I can't wait for y'all to check this out because he's so
Yeah, I
good.
love Mark
He's so
Jackson.
good. Yes, and next week we'll have Steve Kerr breaking down Game 2 of the finals from the '98 season, and then we'll wrap it up with Phil Jackson breaking down Game 6 of the finals. So humble plug, humble brag right there.
Man,
So
nah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely real. You killing it. You killing it. Like, hey, because I remember when we used to work at ESPN, we both was in DC screening.
Right, right. Young in the back row, remember?
Hey, cutting highlights,
They don't know.
doing partials and stuff like that.
Yes, cutting highlights, running shot sheets into the studio. Yeah, what is
I
life?
don't miss them days. I don't miss them
Yeah,
days.
but
Nah.
I'm proud of you. All the success you're doing out here. I see
Hey,
you. I see you.
I'm trying, man.
I'm just trying to keep up with y'all.
I'm trying to get like you, man. Seriously, man. So just kind of based off just all the people that you've been around, what's have they talked about Jordan a lot, being around you and everything? Just kind of have you asked him sort of like Jalen Rose, anybody like that?
I haven't had, well, since we're all social distancing and quarantining, I have, all interaction as a distance right now. But it is just amazing to relive, like I know for the millennials, this docuseries is kind of like a teachable moment of what that era was like. But for us, a lot of us are just reliving that time.
Right.
And you're getting the curtain pulled behind on what Jordan was really like from the first person perspective, as long and his teammates and in the media and the way he was covered. And it's just nostalgic for me to just because we grew up in the 90s era.
Exactly.
We grew up in that time and we had this perception of, and this is before social media. So you have this perception of what the greats were really like behind closed doors. And now, you're kind of getting, that look behind the curtain. So that's what I appreciate.
Cool. So what's it like for all the basketball fans out there? See a lot of people asking about detail or whatever. So like, what's it like to be able to produce that? Because I know just from my end, from a creative video editor standpoint, it's a lot in terms of making sure you got the right plays and matches it up with the audio and everything. Just kind of walk me like a step by step, give me a step by step summary of how you do all that.
Okay, so we have Kobe's production company, Granity Studios, has a team of people that I've worked with directly with every day. And they do an amazing job on just helping, with recruiting talent, getting the best minds in the game to really, whether coaches, former players, active players, to really break down the game from their perspective. So that is pretty much like the bulk of it. And then my job, which I feel like I play a very small part in this. And I say that humbly because, to get the Phil Jacksons of the world, the Nick Sabans, the Peyton Mannings, to agree to break down film of their respective sports, and then for me to project manage this docuseries. And, I just feel like I just play a very small part in this, but the day-to-day is just, you're really just managing all of the internal teams and making sure this content gets across all platforms. Because, that's the world we live in right now.
Exactly.
Everything is not, linear focus. Everything is not, original content focus. You want it to touch every platform. So, it's been a great experience to work on this. Obviously with the tragedy, in January, you learn how to deal with the business side of death as well. And I think in my career, that was the first time I had to go through something like that. And, so it was a lot of learns in 2020. But in terms of the day-to-day, I think the biggest hurdle is just getting the talent to commit. And once they commit, you just kind of get out of the way. You press record, you get out of the way, you let them do their thing in the film study session. And, and then it's my job to just make sure you guys see it.
So were you in the room when Rodman did his? Or
no, I was not. So granted, I work with our production company. So they are out in the field. And now we had to get, in 2020 with the whole, pandemic going on, we had to get a little creative. So we're literally shipping laptops and, things of that nature. And they're recording, we're sending them film and they're recording in real time in their homes and, shipping things back. So we definitely found a workaround. But, so I'm glad that, everything is still going. And you know what? During this pandemic, you want to, let's just be honest. Everybody wants to remain relevant, right? And so I'm just incredibly blessed to, be able to be a part of something like The Last Dance and Detail and be able to give people, everybody's starving for content and fresh content.
That's
and
why I started
it's just amazing. Yeah, I know. There you go. I see you. So is it? But it is honestly amazing to just be a part of that.
Man, so I mean, I know for me, man, I know I would love to kind of be at least have a hand in doing something with the Last Dance. So I know you're honored and blessed to be even be in that position to be able to kind
Right.
of like help people get more in tune about one the triangle offense, which Dennis Rodman did a great job of kind of breaking down.
Yes.
Me personally, I thought it was just going to be about him rebounding. Like, no, he was like literally talking about like, okay, this is what we do. This is what we do in this particular set.
Yeah.
I come right in, I high post. You see me setting up the triangle right here. We're going to the block. We're going to the elbow. That kind of thing. Me,
Right.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Straight love that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting because once we lock in talent, what I will say is we always want to get their perspective on like what games are they interested in breaking down. We don't come to the table and and ask them. We're like, well, what stood out to you during this time period? What are you passionate about? What do you want to talk about? So a lot of times they're selecting their own games. So
that's dope. All right, y'all. I got one more question for you. Ready?
Yes.
What's your favorite pair of Jordans?
Oh man, come on! You gonna make me pull them out? Come on,
pull them out.
Like
Ooh,
I've had these.
Okay, what?
I've had these.
Got the OGs.
Listen. The double. These are the last, and these came out in the double package back in 2007, and that was probably the last time.
Them, man.
Yeah, that was probably the last time I actually stood online for a pair of Jordans. So and probably. Yeah, so I'm too old now. Man. I'm too old. So I will take care of mine.
Let
me
show
I can
you what
pull
I got.
around, flex a little bit.
I got
what you got. There you go.
The Chrome 8s. The 93 joints.
Yeah.
These are the only ones I actually stood in line for. This was like maybe 2015. These originally dropped in 2001. And my guys on my basketball team, shout out to my guys, Najee and Jay Rib, they had the 8s, and I wanted them like so bad when I was in high school, and I never got them. So they came back out. I had a copy, you know what I mean? So
there you go.
Man. T, thank you so much for hopping on. I really appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Hey, I got one question for you. What? And I know you can answer this. Being a woman in sports, what is that like in your position? For anybody,
incredible responsibility. I've had some amazing examples of how to do this, walk the right way. Shout out to Jamel Hill too. She single-handedly changed the trajectory of my career. When she reached back. So my goal is to always just pave that path for everybody. It's not about reaching to the top. It's about how many people I can bring with me. And I wholeheartedly mean that. I have a number of mentees under my belt, under my wing. And, I'm trying to groom them and impart any wisdom and my mistakes that I've learned, along the way. So it's just great to be in that position finally, to give back a little bit.
Hey, shout out to Billy who just commented. What up, Billy? What's going on, boy? Down there in the A.
Look at your boy.
Achilles, man.
And I appreciate all the love. I see a lot of names down there I recognize. So a lot of people hopped on today.
hey, see, I wish we could see each other in DC this year, but NABJ guy was going virtual. I ain't get cut, but it's going virtual. But H-Town,
yes.
Get up. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Keep doing your thing. I'm proud. I'm incredibly proud of you.
Thanks, T. Appreciate you, man.
Right.
I'll holler at you, okay?
All right.
All right, now. All right, y'all. That was Talaya Wilkins from ESPN. She's a producer, so make sure y'all check out Detail. I believe it should be available, tomorrow on ESPN. So up next, I got my man Jimmy from the Bulls, man. He's a good dude. I met him on Twitter. Great guy, one of the dopest designers out there, you know what I mean? So I'm about to add him right now.
Hey, how's it going?
Jimmy! What's up, man?
How's it going, guys? Pretty good. How are you?
Man, you looking like Tony Kukoc right now, man.
It's just, late Sunday night. Just got done working a bit. We just got done with the Last Dance.
Yeah.
We kind of treat it like a game day with the social team. So It's kind of all hands on deck. So it's a lot more time in your computer spent than watching sometimes. But today was actually pretty late for me beforehand. So that made it a little bit more enjoyable as far as taking in the episodes.
Cool. Well, hey, Jimmy, man, appreciate you, number one, for hopping on, man. I know we just met maybe, a couple weeks ago via Twitter, you know what I mean? So I want to appreciate you hopping on and everything. Looks like Jimmy's pausing a little bit. Jimmy, still there, bro?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Jimmy, you got me? Okay, cool. You got me. Cool. All right, so Jimmy, so for everybody who doesn't know who Jimmy is, Jimmy Mitchell, he's the creative service coordinator for the Chicago Bulls. So Jimmy, just for those who really don't know what that is in that particular business, just let them know exactly what you do when it comes to your job details.
So it's basically a fancy title for being the graphic designer for the Bulls. I think there's four of us that do design, and I would kind of set myself in the realm of basically being the social media designer in most cases. So I'm doing a lot of stuff for the digital team and anything that's going to be outward facing on our social channels.
Mm-hmm.
Help photography, home games, and as many away games as I can, and then helping the digital team out with real-time graphics and stuff like that as much as I can do.
Jimmy, man, tell you what, man, you're one of the best in the game right now, bro. I mean, just the stuff that you put out,
I appreciate it.
Just even for the Last Dance stuff you put out, bro. Like even the one you did with Kobe. Did you do that one?
Yeah.
Kobe, y'all dropped that midnight last night.
I did. Yeah.
Fire. You see the posters I got, right? I got the 81.
I see it. Yeah, I
got the Jordan one.
Yeah.
So obviously those are a little pumped up because I've had
them
for a while, man. Hey.
No, it looks great.
You, man.
I appreciate that, though.
So what you think about tonight's episodes?
Tonight's episodes are great. Like I said, my workload itself was a little bit smaller for these two episodes while it was happening, so I kind of got to fully take it in and enjoy it. Every time I see how crazy of a competitor Michael Jordan was, that's what I love to watch and why I love him so much. So I think these two episodes really encompass that, and it showed how the people tried to tear him down and how he really just wouldn't let that happen. But no, these two episodes to me were great.
One thing I know you can attest to, the one part I really enjoyed, me and you both working in sports, is having y'all director of ticket operations being interviewed saying like how he was just so stressed out about just like the demands of tickets for home games back in that '98 season.
Yeah, no. Sorry, I lost you there for a second on the question. Yeah, no, it's really cool to see people that you work with on a day-to-day basis, and like stories that you've heard internally, and now they're getting out to the public, and just like crazy scenarios like that a normal sports fan you wouldn't think about on a day-to-day basis. But these are real challenges that people face in the office on a daily basis, and they have to find what the best way to deal with that is. And so I've heard that story before, so to hear it on TV and have people be so shocked by like that something like that would happen it's pretty cool.
I know, man. I just know, just kind of working in sports and just working, just being around people like the ops people, like the facilities people. They're gonna have some stories, but I just really enjoy to kind of give people a different perspective on like how like what goes into making sure how things are operated, not even from like a creative services standpoint, but also from an operations standpoint as well. So, so Jimmy, man, just take me through. I'm gonna kind of hop back into the design standpoint. Like, take me through. Like, I know you have mentioned something on Twitter about what makes a dope design. You kind of focus on one particular thing, and what is that?
For my designs, just I kind of break it down into a couple different categories. A lot of the viral designs that I've had are, it's playing off of something that's happened or something that's you're gonna connect emotionally to whoever you're trying to reach.
Right.
And a lot of times those are pretty invasive and environmental designs where it's telling a story the whole way. And I think that's probably the biggest part of any design is how are you going to take this little 1080 by 1350 pixel on someone's phone and just tell this story real quick to the point where they're going to really relate to it and not want to keep scrolling past it real quick. So just trying to make it as thumb stopping as possible. The one I did tonight with Jordan and his ones from the Garden, that was one of my favorite ones I've done in a while, just because the shoe itself it captivates so much and it makes you stop for a second, but just trying to use so iconic, and just being able to use pictures from that game along with the shoe to tell like this mini story of, hey, this was Jordan's last time in the Garden, and he wore these shoes. Just that's just what it comes down to, is how, like I said, how are you going to get your point across in this short amount of time in this little graphic? So
cool. So talk to me a little bit about, the strategy that you put into kind of building up towards the last end, because it got bumped up from it was supposed to be in June to now. So I know that was kind of like a bit of a whirlwind for you guys.
Yeah, no, it was something that we knew was going to be a big opportunity for us, especially with the sports world being kind of down right now and not much going on. We just knew there was a lot we'd be able to do, and all eyes would be on us. The way I kind of explain it to my friends who might not be the biggest basketball fans and stuff like that, for me, with it being every Sunday, it's kind of like the Game of Thrones to the sports world right now. It's like everyone's going to tune in, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about it over social media, so just like we're doing right now. But for us, as far as game planning, it started out as like a very, we hadn't seen it or anything, so it's like, how are we we're gonna have to do this like a game. We're gonna have to react when stuff happens, and that's kind of how we've done it to this point. Like I said, we're on call. We're all watching. If there's a good quote, we're gonna put out a graphic for it. We're gonna try to put out pictures and stuff from that era that we can relate to.
Absolutely.
And we're kind of taking it as a week by week thing, and just trying to make sure that our brand stays at its peak through all this. And obviously it shows our brand in the best way of 6-time greatest franchise in NBA history, stuff like that. So like you say, it was sprung up on us a little bit by it coming forward, but there's really no better time with no sports happening. It's all eyes on us, and that's not anything we're new to. We like having that, all the eyes on us and having the pressure. So some we like.
And I know, just for you guys, just being in the NBA when everything shut down because of COVID-19, like, at least you guys have, content that y'all can still grow with, instead of a lot of teams where they're really like searching and crawling just to at least stay somewhat relevant, unlike you guys, where you can go Last Dance up until by the end of this month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's I feel for other teams like that, and there are those other teams out there that are trying to, they'll post something with Jordan. They're trying to grab on a little bit to their Last Dance moments.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's been good for us. It's definitely, we haven't been searching for content by any means, like some other teams might be, but at the same time, it's a lot of work back on everyone's plate. It feels like the season is happening right now, covering a team from, over 20 years ago, but the engagement's through the roof, and to this point, our team's done great. So shout out to any Bulls Digital watching right now.
Yeah,
you guys are killing it, and we're trying as hard as we can to kill it on a nightly basis. So. No, I appreciate that.
So. Totally across the board, man. So I'm pretty sure you were a Bulls fan growing up, correct?
Correct. Born and raised out here, ride or die with the Bulls, like favorite sports team ever. So yeah, this is it for me.
What's your favorite memory as a Bulls fan growing up?
Favorite memory as a Bulls fan. Obviously a huge D-Rose fan, so there's too many to probably choose from in that regard. But the first one I can truly remember just being like, wow, was, that Boston series with the young Bulls team where the 8th seed took them to 7. And that's probably one of my first Bulls experiences where I was just like, there's so much energy all the time. Yeah, correct. And then after that, just getting to experience Derrick Rose's MVP season as a whole, and being able to be local and get to a couple of games that year. And while he was, still in his prime doing his thing before the injury, just getting to take that all in, that's really what made me fall in love with the game and fall in love with the Bulls as an organization.
So what was it like to get that job? Because you didn't start off as the creative service coordinator. You had to work your way up from there. So it was like when you got that call. Part of the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I've told the story maybe once or twice other publicly, but like I was a senior in college locally, Elmhurst College, right outside the city, and an opening came up for an internship in the digital team, and I applied, got a phone. This is probably the fall of my senior year, and it's kind of always been my dream job. Like I always picture myself eventually working for the Bulls. I didn't think it'd be right out of school by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got denied, I was a little bummed out.
Mm-hmm.
But still, was creating my stuff, still creating NBA art, and a couple months later, got a Instagram DM from one of the digital staffs, Camille. Shout out him, and they brought me in after doing a couple freelance pieces. So I was the intern for the rest of that season. The season after we had traded Jimmy Butler. So right when we were starting to rebuild, and after that, so I was the intern for that season, and then that following summer, I was pulled on full time as the creative services coordinator. So
congrats, man.
Yeah, there's in between that time, there was a little bit of up and down and uncertainty, but always, investing in me and wanting me to do the best I can. Because, as being a Bulls fan, like I hold the brand at a very high standard, and I take it personal whenever we post something. So it gives it that extra love,
As you should, man. As you should, man. Well, I got one more question. Well, two more questions. Give me a good Jordan story since you work for the organization. Not too bad, but kind of like
no,
ground. You know what I mean?
No, the Last Dance. They actually took my favorite Jordan story tonight and made it. I hadn't really heard it too much before that, but like I said, the competition that Michael Jordan always was so hungry for. When they were playing the Suns and going back to Phoenix,
right.
And he told the guys getting on the plane, he's like, "I hope you guys only packed one suit because I'm not playing 2 games." Like that's just when I heard that, whenever it was, that always been one of my favorite stories, just because like the sheer confidence you have to be like, you know what, we could play a potential of 3 more games, but no, we're only packing for 1 because this thing's over right now. That was definitely one of my favorite stories for sure with Jordan. And myself, I was born in '96, so a lot of this stuff, like, I didn't get to experience in person, so it's a lot of. I've always had, my parents have always had NBA TV because in the summer that's what I'm watching. I'm trying to catch as many of the old school games as I can to, take that in. But other than that, being around the United Center, I've heard some good stuff, but. I think that'd probably be my favorite. But like I said, The Last Dance actually exposed me on that one
tonight. That's crazy, man. Well, at least you had one up your sleeve, man. I appreciate that, man. So I got one more question for you, man. What's your favorite pair of mics, man? Favorite pair of Jordans,
man? Everyone's got the 11s, the Breds and the Concords. That's a favorite. But I'm always a sucker for the 12s. But really, any pair of 12s.
Really?
I always want to play basketball in them, but every time I've held one, they're heavy, man. Those things are not light.
I actually got a pair in the garage right now.
So any of the 12s usually will do for me. Obviously the 1s are making a huge comeback. Everyone's got their pair of 1s now. All-Star Weekend was in Chicago, and I'd say 80% of the people are wearing some sort of 1. Or an 11. That's all I feel like I saw all weekend. But I guess my sleeper pair would be just any of the 12s. Really, I just love that design. It's super, super simple. And some of the older or the later models just got a little bit too invasive for me. So just that 2-color, real nice overlay at the bottom. Yeah, it was nice.
Did you like what colorway did you like the best?
I really like the white with the black, with the gold tints in it.
Yeah,
but
that's underrated.
Any of the Chicago threads, really, anything with the red and the white or red and black. That's really what I'll go for.
See, I got the red and white ones now that I bought like 10 years ago, and then I had I was younger in like 90. I think he had those in the 97 year, 96, 97 years, I think. And then I'm actually a big 20s guy too, the stealth colorway. And then I like the Concords. I like the 8s. Let me bring these out. Hold on. I got my 8s. right here. You know, I got the chrome 8s.
There you go.
These like my favorite ones right here.
Nice.
And then I got the 6s as well. I put out a tweet today saying I like the Olympic 7s, but yeah, those are my favorite, man.
Good.
So I'm gonna try to. I want to get my hands on them black and gold 6s that just came out a couple weeks ago. But I'm not trying to drop like 2 something on those shoes right now. You know what I mean?
I feel that. No, I feel the shoot, especially working in the NBA. I shoot a lot of the intro, like the walk-in shots for these guys, and you know, they're always coming in with their different shoes and whatnot. And Lowry marketing will always tell me like, "Oh, you got the same shoes on still?" I'm like, you know, I got to step. I mean, I don't have the same amount of money as some of these guys, but I got to step the shoe game up. So I invested a little bit. I wish I'd had in my. I got a pair of 11s, and then I got a pair of low ones from back in middle school. I still wear it from time to time, but they're beat up pretty good. I keep those in the closet.
I think my last pair of J's I bought. Was like the 8s, like the premium, but I got some other ones upstairs that, you know, I just kind of wear. Like I bought like the racers, like the Team Jordan racers. It was like $35 at the Nike store, which I'll take them all day.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
Great deal, bro.
Yeah, we're running around the stadium so much. Those racers are like the running shoes kind of deal.
Dude,
so I was like, you know, that might not be a bad pickup.
Dude, hey, I'm telling you, man, I think they got them on champs for like $55 or $60 or something like that. So they mixed in the three threads too. So I got them, you know what I mean? The colorways I got were like a black, white, and like a yellow trim. So it was decent. I fooled them, you know what I mean? So, hey, for y'all, hey, this is Jimmy Mitchell, a creative service coordinator for the Chicago Bulls. Jimmy, thank you, man, for hopping on with me, man, for Crunch Time. Like I said, man, it's been a joy talking to you. Talking to somebody who's actually inside the Chicago Bulls organization, pumping out phenomenal content, bro. You do phenomenal work. Keep going, keep doing your thing, man.
I appreciate it.
No problem, bro.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, and sorry for this haircut. You know,
no, you
tough
good,
times
man.
right
we both Wilkins out here,
I know.
man. So you know,
I'm looking at myself too much. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. All right, well, hey, well, have a good night and enjoy the rest of the series, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro. We'll talk, man.
Yep. Have a good one.
Yep. All right, y'all. That's a wrap for episode 2 of Crunch Time. Hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I had my man Mike Hill, Talaya, Wilkins, and Jimmy Mitchell on here, and I gave y'all some real talk about, you know, this whole Last Dance thing. Gave you even some political talk with my man Mike and Talaya, kind of breaking down how she's involved with the Last Dance in terms of producing the detailed series. So make sure I head on over to ESPN Plus. Check all that out, and then shout out to my man Jimmy Mitchell, the creative service coordinator for the Chicago Bulls. Dope designer, does dope work. Make sure y'all check him out, man. So for Crunch Time episode 2, thank y'all again for having me. Thanks, T, for being on. Everybody who checked this out, make sure y'all spread the word and everything. I'm gonna go again next week. I'm still working on my lineup, and once I get that worked out, y'all know about Thursday or Friday. All right, so y'all be good, y'all be easy. Stay away from this corona. Stay in the crib. What's up, Dennis? Appreciate you, man. Hey, y'all be good, man. Holla at y'all.